And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes. I am back after a short hiatus. I took a day off of YouTube yesterday. I was live on Twitch though, so if you're ever interested in that, definitely go follow the Twitch and come hang out during the streams. That'd be super cool. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about investments that you can make with little to no MT in NBA 2K22, my team, that will pay off in various fashions throughout the both season and in the future. So we'll start with the maxed out players. So this season, these are not timed XP like they were last season, so they don't actually expire. And when it comes to the maxed out players specifically, these packs were so underhyped. Not even underhyped. I mean, the lack of hype was deserved, but they're so low hyped that it's worth investing in some of these guys. Now, the diamond and above guys, I would say, are absolutely not worth investing in. Aaron Gordon, Wiggins, Tim Duncan, Ray Allen, absolutely not. When it comes to the lower tiered guys, maybe investing in like a JJ Redick or Keon Johnson may pay off in the future, but I'm not entirely sure. The one card I would say is a good investment is Dikembe Mutombo. And the reason I say that is A, he's not incredibly expensive right now. He's a little bit overpriced for an amethyst, but even if you don't essentially receive a payoff monetarily, Dikembe Mutombo with his 99 block and incredible defensive stats will pay off, helping you get done XP challenges in the future. Anything that has to do with blocks, Mutombo will be able to hold it down. You know, if you have to get done a certain challenge involving blocks, XP, etc., I think Dikembe Mutombo at around 5 to 6K is absolutely worth picking up for that reason and that reason alone. Now, the NBA 75 cards. These guys are definitely worth investing in. Take someone like John Havlicek, for example. He was like 1,500 MT like a week and a half ago during the market crash, and now he's like 5,000 MT. If you would have invested in a bunch then, you could come up on 10 or so K MT, you know, in just pure profit. Hal Greer is another good example. He was about 12K, and you're not going to make a huge amount of MT, but you could sell him for 17, 18 to make a couple thousand MT. Now, this is especially true with Nate Archibald. Nate Archibald is super, super cheap at the moment. If you can get him for under 10K, I would say that's a worthwhile investment. I'm not going to say you're going to profit major amounts of MT here. Look, I'm not a snipe channel. I'm not someone who's going to be like, oh yes, do this and you'll be able to snipe a KD for 500 MT. That's not my channel and that's not who I am. But Nate Archibald for 9,950, I think is a good investment. Chances are I'm not going to make too much MT. But if he even goes up to 15K, you know, I'll make a couple thousand MT. It'll end up being worth it in the long run. So looking at the 1980s, this is going to be an interesting collection because we've already gotten so many cards from this. Kareem, I don't know if he's a real worthwhile investment. I mean, if you can bid snipe him, bid sniping is always something that'll make you MT. It, you know, I would say only works 4 or 5% of the time you do it, but it's worth trying. Isaiah Thomas is the card I want to focus on here, though. You can get him for absolutely criminal pricing. Look, the thing is, people underestimate how many people are going to lock in for these NBA 75 players because there's going to be a lot, especially the 1981. I just have a sneaking suspicion that card's going to be really good. I don't know who it's going to be, but my money was on Larry Bird, but I'm actually shocked that it was something different. Larry Bird is another card. I don't know if he's necessarily worth investing. If you guys have played 2K for a long period of time, you know that Larry Bird, in regards to like the high tier cards and the big names, holds the value the absolute worst out of like any of them. When you think of like big name guys like Magic, Giannis, LeBron, MJ, you know, that kind of player, the person who holds the value the worst is Larry Bird. I don't know what it is, but it's just realistic. John Stockton was going for like 7K, and now he's only going for like 11, but that's still a healthy profit if you did pick some up. It's not crazy, but I'm interested about the 2000s though, because we've only received 3 pink diamonds for the 2000s, so I think we're going to get like an amethyst or a diamond KG and like some other like random diamonds and stuff. Diamond Mellow probably. Same with 2010s. We're about to see a lot of those cards in the near future because I don't know who any of those players are going to be and what gem tier they are. Jonas Valanciunas. Now, this is an investment that may take a long period of time to come to fruition. look, he's super cheap. You can get him for like 6K at the moment, right? I'm not saying this is going to pay off in the short term. It probably won't. But when you see a diamond going for around quick sell value, which is I think 5K, it might be lower this year. I'm not sure. I haven't quick sold a diamond yet. It's worth it to invest in that card because even in the short term, it'll probably go up a little bit. Valanciunas is a special case, and the reason I say that is because of Spotlight Sims. One of the hardest, if not the hardest team, typically to fill out for a Spotlight Sim roster is the Pelicans. Legitimately the toughest squad. They do not have a rich history involving players whatsoever, especially big men. Like outside of Tyson Chandler, David West, and PJ Brown, you're not really going to notice a lot of cards getting dropped for New Orleans big men. Mashburn would be another one, but he doesn't play center. So the Pelicans are always a very tough team to fill out. The other reason they're a tough team to fill out for the most part is the Pelicans are one of those strange teams that does not have a very expansive player pool, but then the cards that they do have come out, you know, that are outside of like Chris Paul and like some other people, will be like Zion and some other super expensive cards for no reason. Domantas Sabonis is another guy you can look at if you can get him for right around 5K, which you can for the most part. I mean, you'll be able to profit eventually. I don't know how long that's going to take. If you've realistically paid attention to any of the Moments cards, if whichever ones are by quick sell value, if you pick them up, you will profit off of them. Like every single one. I'm not saying they're going to go up hella or anything, but it's worthwhile. Now, Desmond Bane. He's another one too. Memphis is always a really, really tough team to fill out in regards to Spotlight Sims. They do not have a storied history at the wing at all. Outside of Rudy, that's about it. James Posey, Tony Allen, I guess. But Desmond Bane is actually kind of good too, so we might help you a little bit. Look at someone like Mike Muscala, for instance, right? He's not very much MT at all. He's 2,000 MT. It's not great, but he was like 1,000 MT a couple days ago. So Jalen Brunson, same thing. The Mavericks are always really tough to fill out in regards to the shooting guard and the wing as well. They do not have a good history there. Same with the Miami Heat, another team to kind of look at in regards to like stashing players. Gabe Vincent, he's decent. He's more of a point guard, but as far as their shooting guard and small forward, once again, not a great history there. And at the center position, not great either, outside of Bosch and the occasional Heat Shack. That's about all you can really think of. We'll get Mornings and stuff too, but he's usually a Hornets card. It's kind of tough to determine which one we're going to get. Now, looking at sets in general, this is just a general tip, right? When we have a set come out, like a limited edition specifically, all the lower tier cards are worth investing in because they will go up in price. Like Dylan Windler was like 600 MT. Same with Jared Culver. Like I said, not saying these are going to be groundbreaking MT like making operations here, but you'll be able to make a couple thousand pretty easy for doing almost nothing, just having a tiny bit of capital to invest. These might take some time, but my main point is if you're pulling packs specifically, don't sell these the day you're pulling packs. Just wait. Just have them chill in your auctions for like a couple weeks. You'll end up benefiting more MT off of it. Like bid sniping, like I said, is always going to be something that helps. I like to bid snipe on lower tier cards that usually aren't paid attention to. People typically hawk like the diamond and above, even the amethyst. But when it comes to ruby below, a lot of people don't pay attention to those bid snipes. So sometimes you are able to come up off some bid snipes. I'm not saying I'm going to make a bunch of MT here, probably make a couple thousand, but look, it's literally like costing me no time and just a tiny bit of MT. Worst case scenario, I break even on a lot of these. I don't really think the prime times are worth investing in. I just feel like maybe those are like just not worth it. Troy Daniels is another guy I wanted to point out. This is like a Mutombo kind of guy. He's worth picking up for like 800 if you can. Just because the Hornets are another notorious team that's hard to fill out for Spotlight Sims. And I feel like we're going to get those in Season 4, so it's something to think about. 800 MT, worst case scenario, you sell them for 800 MT and you lose 80 MT. It's really not that big of a deal, in my opinion. Now, shoes. A lot of these are dropping right now. I've been noticing a lot of people have gotten Air Jordan 4s. It must be like a new colorway they've dropped into the game because a lot of people are getting them. So it's probably at least a relatively solid investment. There's just so many Jordans that it's really tough to say, yes, you should invest in this one or that one. Converse are always a thing that's worth investing in. Puma, Reebok, just shoes that like specific players will have that typically don't drop out of packs too much. I don't know. Are there Diamond Pumas? I have yet to see one in the game. I'm not entirely sure. Let me claim my Archibald. I got outbid on my Jonas Valanciunas. That's fine. Like I said, I'm not here to provide you with earth-shattering or like crazy, OMG, look at this snipe holy filters. You know what I mean? That's not really what I'm here. I'm just here dropping some realism out here. Like, you can do this stuff to make a small amount of MT if you want to. Selling gold shoes is always good too. I mean, people do buy them. You'd be surprised. Like, especially when it's like has an XP challenge attached to it, like craft a shoe. People will actually go buy the gold shoes. Now, I really don't even try to sell like bronze shoes and stuff. Now, badges are always something you want to kind of invest in tepidly throughout the time. Like, badges are so cheap this year, and realistically, if you can get any badge for under like 400, you're going to be able to sell for a profit at some point in the near future. Like, you're probably not going to be able to get clamps. I usually go and I search the either 450 or 500 and under badge filter and just kind of troll it. Like, sometimes you can come up with some pretty cool stuff. Like these limitless takeoffs for 450. I feel like that's a solid investment. Like, worst case scenario, I'll sell them for like 600 later. But if we get like a card that is really, really solid, just doesn't have a limitless, a good example of somebody who was like that was Andre Karolinko. George Mikan had it, but Andre Karolinko is a very good example of somebody who's really, really solid at attacking the rim, but didn't have limitless. Now, the reason these limitless badges are so cheap has to do with the last update we got that kind of made it harder to move laterally and attack the rim as a whole. Don't ever count out 2K from making another gameplay change. They literally average at least 3 pre-250K tournament, and then they don't touch the game again for the rest of like its existence. So you can bet they're probably going to patch the game in some capacity again before the February 250K. You know what I mean? That is a pretty solid bet, I would say, right? Before the last qualifier or right after the last qualifier, they like to kind of mess with the game a little bit one last time. So picking up badges that aren't exactly meta right now that could become meta is a super solid investment move, honestly. Look, your boy's not mad money out here, okay? I'm just trying to help a little bit. Also, never sleep on the 3 token silver badge packs. This is guaranteed MT. That'll make it, you know, really easy and make it worth grinding tokens. I'll be the first person to tell you that when it comes to the Galaxy Opal token reward, yeah, I mean, it's probably good, but what is it going to be like? What was it, 750 tokens last year? Yeah, for 750 tokens, do you know how much MT you could make off those 3 silver badge packs? So much. Like, on the lowest end, you're getting about 600 MT per 3 tokens. And on the highest end, you can get somewhere around 10 if you get like, you know, clamps or like limitless or something. So that is probably the best thing you could possibly do to make consistent MT in this game. I think tokens are probably not worth it. I mean, they could shock our world this year by dropping like an insane Galaxy Opal token player. But I mean, if you remember back last year, Moses Malone was really, really good. But the first 3 that we got, I mean, Rick Barry was okay with the base 3. He was solid. Gary Payton was decent. Bill Russell was decent. But nobody used those cards even 3 or 4 weeks after they came out. Remember, at that point, when it gets to season 4, power balancing is so crazy splashed out. Like, cards only make it usually like outside of the special select ones that are like high tier pack cards like Luka and some other cards. Like, those cards became outdated, or they just released basically a player that played the same position just better very quickly. Now, +4 3-point boost, also super, super low right now for some reason. I don't know. I've seen them go for under 10K, which I think is actually crazy. The reason I say that is because look at what point we are in 2K. At some point in the near future, possibly even tomorrow, but I would say next week is probably closer, we're going to get a dominant big man that has like a 72 3-pointer, right? And people are going to clamor to add the +4 3-pointer to him. I also like to badge snipe these shoe boosts because you can usually get them for pretty cheap, especially the gold ones, and you can sell them back for profit pretty much every single time. So it's definitely worth trolling on there for like an hour a day, just kind of hanging out, throwing some bids up. Occasionally you'll sneak one through, which I think is worth it. I like to put them up like 700. I mean, if I can get it for that price, cool. If not, whatever. That's about the max I'm willing to pay for it at this point. And you can occasionally, pretty often, sneak these through without people grabbing them. Nobody really checks the gold shoe boost. Like, everyone just wants the flashy diamond one. So, I don't know. It's worth checking out. If you're watching this video and you're like, I already do all those things, I apologize. If you thought you were going to learn something new today, I guess not. These are beginner tips for investments, okay? It's literally what the title says. All right. They're just to help people who are trying to get their MT game up and don't want to get permabanned by buying MT. Okay. And yes, there's inevitably going to be someone in the comments that's just like, just go buy MT. Okay. Some people don't want to do that. Always check the gold players for 700 and under. Even if you sell them for 800 MT, you're making a profit. And there's always, especially on pack days, people who quick sell these. Always, it's your boy Cheap Loots. Thank you for watching the video. I hope this helped you a little bit. I know it's nothing crazy, but subscribe to the channel. I'll be back with more content later, and peace.